Zona, The Secret of Chernobyl, is a board game for 1 to 4 players set in an alternate history version of the radioactive exclusion zone surrounding the Chernobyl nuclear processing plant. Here there are tears in the fabric of reality, anomalies that defy physics, mutants disfigured by abnormal energies, and artifacts affected in many different ways. There are those who would enter the zone, fools who would ignore the risks, or experienced scavengers who have learned how to survive. Some go to bring back artifacts to sell on the black market, and some go to leave their lives behind, and some are called by Zona. Yesterday I released a review video of the game, including a playthrough by myself. I did record some extra footage this week, but I didn't have time to edit it into the main video, and so that appears in this video, and I'll pass over to my past self for that. So I've had good fun with my first playthrough as the Prospector. I didn't manage to get into the centre of the zone, but I had a good go. The story was very interesting, and what I really need to do, rather than having it as a single player game, is to have a communal attempt and bring in a friend.
I'll have a go.
Excellent. I have brought my friend Ratman, as the lockdown rules have finally changed and we are allowed to do such things. So to keep things interesting, I'm going to pop aside the Prospector and we shall choose from the other character boards.
Okay, so I am playing the Hunter.
And I am playing the Drunkard.
So initially when we started playing, the biggest learning hurdle for me was the different stat types. So having come from Warhammer and the Fallout games and stuff like strength and willpower and that kind of thing, just getting my head around which one was what.
Yeah, they all have different names. Yeah, so I started off in the green zone, same as my previous character, and I immediately set about getting into one of the secret locations.
So I started in the middle of the yellow. As soon as we started, directly above where I started, there was this Wolfie boy. So straight away on my first turn, I was able to move in and take that on.
I met a mutant along the way, which horribly wounded me, but also I got one of the event cards. What if the emissions are the wrath of Zona? And so I got punished for other scavengers before me stealing and causing all this mess. And so I had to camp, or I felt I had to camp. Like, going underground is dangerous enough that I want to be at decent health, maybe not full health, but decent health.
Talk about some of the events that happened, because I think they're quite interesting. So one of the ones I encountered was at the Proving Grounds. I stumbled across a bunch of maniacs, and they were killing civilians and dumping them in a pit. Now I had the option to either go and hide in this pit and hope they don't notice me, which would have resulted in me getting 2 damage because they would have seen me and 1 stress, or I could have tried to act like them and sneak around. Yeah, so that was quite a fun one.
This was the Botanical Gardens. I would be able to get back out of there and back to the camp in time for the emission, but because I went to the camp first, I ended up stuck outside and I took all of the damage from the emission. So I just restored all of my health and then immediately lost loads of it again, like 2 turns later. So when I headed off to the other side of the map to look at the my second secret, I really needed to camp again to restore all my health. I'm not sure if camping this often is a normal thing or if I was just really unlucky.
Heading on down to the bunker, that one was quite fun. So when I get there, I'm being pursued by bandits. So basically I've got to try and get behind this metal bulkhead to avoid being shot. However, they ram a crowbar in there, try and wedge it open to get at me. What I'm trying to do is turn on a security system, which I did successfully do, which turned on a load of flamethrowers to burn them all. Cooking the bandits until the screams fade away, which I think was quite... An important thing to take into consideration is that you can't use 2 secrets in the same location to progress to the end game. Luckily I got a special event that essentially just gave me one, which then let me start moving towards the red area. So that lucky cheeky breaky gets an event card that just gives him an extra secret. So he's straight away got 2,
with no effort whatsoever, and he's going straight to the centre. Whereas I've gone like camping twice, and I'm going camping a third time to restore my health. Because after I went to the underground archive, that gave me like 2 or 3 physical damage and 2 radiation damage. I managed to get a rad suit out of that, and that's nice. The protective suit is a good thing to have. But I didn't have it until after I finished the encounter, and so I couldn't use it during the encounter.
The emission timer was 4 at this point, so I decided to head back to a camp in the yellow area. There's only one camp in the yellow area. So at that point we had the emission. I was bunkered down, so my character was safe. I was and which of the 2 red zones I was going to go for. One would require me to roll against knowledge, and one was against physical damage. I would have preferred to have done the physical damage one, which was Chernobyl, but I couldn't get there without encountering a monster, so I risked it on luckily I passed that one. So once we've entered the power plant, roll against the task to see if you can enter the sarcophagus. However, I repeatedly failed these. These are incredibly hard. So the first one I got, I entered a room full of like cryostasis pods. I failed on the first one, so we got attacked. Psychoactive attack by a phantom. After a couple of goes, this one's quite creepy. The imagery reminds me of Aliens, which was more amalgamated with the wall, so there were limbs coming out of walls and stuff like that. And as I'm walking down the corridor, one of them sort of moves, so I see it at the corner of my eye. I didn't roll enough, so I had to use one of my items in order to pass that. Basically, I come across an airlock. I can either manually try and open it while sort of shrugging off these big limbs that are grabbing and stuff, or I could have tried and fixed the computer console that would open it remotely. I managed to cancel one of the minuses, and then I had to re-roll another one. So yeah, it was risky, but done it. And then we get the win condition, and the win conditions on this game are very odd. So basically, I went into a room, at which point there was like an announcement over intercom saying, "Oh, the subject has returned." Technically, I won the game, but my character almost certainly died.
And yeah, the voice of Zona gave my opponent the ability to place so many mutants in my way that even if I had been able to have a few more turns, it would have been a hard slog all the way north. Thankfully, my associates' actions have maybe saved the day, have ensured that the final mission doesn't happen, or at least that's what we hope. So the world is saved this time.
It was an experiment on cloning of some description. I'm hoping they were making a super soldier, and that's what my character was all along. But we don't know, but hopefully that means that the experiment's over, the emissions are going to stop.
Our story comes to an end, showing how you don't take a trip to Zona lightly. I gave all of my opinions about the game yesterday, so let's ask Ratman. What did you think of the game?
So the story elements I think are great, really adds to the immersion. In my head it gives me something, because before that I was kind of more thinking about it being a completely desolate environment, that there was only, a few scavengers going through.
What do you think of the setting?
It's almost supernatural, but it's kind of explained in its own universe, with it being, radiation, and they're grounded in their own universe. That's what I want to say. I was expecting to have needed to know a bit about the lore, but that isn't the case at all. It's really enjoyable.
Is the complexity of the game a concern?
I think the complexity isn't as complex as other games I've played, and I think I could get my head around it pretty quickly.
Would you want to play it again?
Essentially, I really enjoyed the game, and I'd also like to play it with a few more players. The opportunity to be able to backstab each other, with the Voice of Zona token being passed around, obviously we get to influence the wider world.
So thank you to Ratman for joining me, and thank you all for watching. I've tried a very different style of video today, so let me know in the comments if this works, and check my review yesterday for more of a rules side of the game. I'm s.t.a.l.k.e.r, and I always will be.
would like to address rumours that I am an animatronic robot that Ed Dust employs to appear in his videos. These rumours are completely unfounded and unjustified. Thank you.